Tebow, Jamarcus Russell, Anthony Richardson's 44 completion percentage is the lowest of any quarterback of the last 20 years. Accuracy was always a problem for him coming out of Florida, but nobody could have predicted this level of dysfunction from last year's 4th overall pick. And now that he's benched after only a handful of career starts, how bad really is he? Statistically, as bad as it gets. When checking Pro Football Focus's advanced stats, not only does he have the lowest completion percentage in most areas, but they're all by a mile. 28.6% when blitzed? Obviously last, but also the next closest is Jacoby Brissett, all the way up at 47%. Richardson struggles completing passes because of his poor pre-snap processing, poor post-snap processing too, his anticipation is bad, he can't manipulate defenders in zone coverage with his eyes, his ball placement is putrid, and he often drops his eyes when he's holding the ball later in the down. He has by far the highest average depth of target in the league and the lowest percentage of short passes. So that's the Colts telling everybody he's not consistent enough to hit 4 and 5 yard passes underneath. So they're not even gonna try. They know if he's even kind of gonna work as an NFL quarterback, it's gonna have to be in big chunks deep down the field. They can't throw shorts, cause he isn't accurate shorts. Here the Colts have the perfect play call to beat any type of man coverage. The Dolphins are playing cover 1 robber with a robber safety coming down to play a middle zone, which lets the cornerbacks play outside leverage to force the receivers inside towards their safety help. If they didn't have that safety help, if he was blitzing, both defenders would play inside leverage because they don't have that help. The Colts are running a crash concept where one route beats inside leverage if it's there, and the other beats outside leverage, which is what the Dolphins are playing. So when Richardson correctly targets Adonai Mitchell, who has the leverage advantage, he just dirts the ball. There are a million of these on tape, which is why the Colts knew they couldn't run an offense that dinked and dunked its way down the field. Before we talk about how things got even worse as he attacked deeper, I want to thank this season's sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports site where you can play a number for almost any player every day. They have any sport you can think of. You can predict a ton of different stats. If you want to make sports even more fun and win money, PrizePicks, they are him. To play, you choose 2 to 6 players and select whether they go more or less than their projection. I'll take Mr. Paint Your Nails more than 0.5 passing touchdowns. That's just 1 touchdown for money. This is a goblin pick. Because it's so likely to hit, PrizePicks reduces the payout a little. And I'll go more for Brian Robinson's 61.5 rushing yards against the Giants. PrizePicks has the fastest withdrawals of any daily fantasy app I've used. You load up the app, you are done stupid quick. They're also doing a deal where if you use my promo code Rollins, if you put in just $5, they will give you $50 for free. That's promo code Rollins. Throughout each individual step in the process of completing a pass, Anthony Richardson is flawed. Pre-snap, he struggles to consistently identify the correct leverage. This is man coverage, and with Josh Downs running a simple 5-yard out route, because Kader Kohou has this inside zone linebacker help, he's outside leveraged, so an outbreaking route is not going to work. His pre-snap issues are a major part of the reason why he also struggles so much against the blitz. It's cause his flawed pre-snap process leads to poor post-snap decisions. The Colts love to run 4 verticals to highlight his big-time arm strength, which turns into a choose-your-matchup concept. Since you're not necessarily expecting the most separation ever, since they're all just go routes, you want to instead target the best receiver-defender matchup. However, the Texans are stacking Jalen Petre with their deep safety Eric Murray, which is a tell that they're blitzing Petre because his assignment is easily replaced by Murray. So now we have Josh Downs on a slower safety. Murray gets torched, but Richardson doesn't process the blitz and doesn't process the matchup he's getting, and incomplete. Even when his pre-snap process is good, he can still struggle post-snap with anticipation because too often he's waiting to see his receiver open instead of throwing before he makes his break. On 3rd and 13 with Kamari Lassiter 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, Richardson knows where he's going to throw the ball. When he sees Lassiter's hips flipped, that should be all systems go to throw the comeback to Adonai Mitchell, but you can see him hesitate. This gives the pass rush an extra second to close in, and Richardson skips the ball to Mitchell instead of converting a crucial 3rd and long. At times he anticipates the throw alright, but doesn't anticipate the coverage. There are a few different types of zone coverage. Spot drop zone coverage, which is more basic. It's what you see more in high school. It's where you have your zone, stay in it no matter what, while keeping your eyes fixed on the quarterback and reacting based on what he does. And then there's match zone coverages, which is more advanced. You are playing zone, but you're also relating to how the offense's concepts play out. So you're guarding a concept, then getting your eyes back on the quarterback. Scrambling quarterbacks like Richardson have the advantage of facing more spot drop zone coverages, because defenders want to keep eyes on him the entire time, so when he does scramble, they can be ready to go get him. You can see Jordan Brooks playing spot drop zone technique against the Colts 4 verticals. The key to moving zone defenders, even easier spot drop zone defenders, is by using your eyes to manipulate them out of the way. Good quarterbacks anticipate the coverage and know to look away from their target because the linebackers are following their eyes. You look away before you throw, it creates a window. But you can see Richardson is just staring down his target, giving Brooks all he needs to make a play. Consistently staring down your targets can lead to horrible results over time. Quarterbacks who haven't mastered their own scheme, who can't look away from the receiver before throwing, can create turnovers. So by continuing to demonstrate poor post-snap processing, Richardson's completion percentage continued to sink. At times, he would drop his eyes to find a hole in the defensive line so he could scramble, instead of keeping his vision on his receivers. So there would be wide open guys waiting for the ball, but he was already looking to run. What's even worse is that sometimes there weren't any other reasons he'd miss throws other than just plain old bad accuracy. The Colts have led the league in drops when he's been at quarterback, but it's more because of him, because of plays like this. They're down 3, 22 seconds left in the fourth, no timeouts, so they need a deep outbreaking route to pick up yards and to get out of bounds to stop the clock. Alec Pierce runs a great route to create separation. He knows he needs to catch this and get out of bounds, or the game is just about over. But Richardson does not have the necessary accuracy, puts it back shoulder, not at all where it needs to be. So yeah, Pierce drops it. AR also struggled with some of the easy, fundamental parts of the game, like consistently receiving the snap, consistently handing the ball off correctly to his running backs, and these basic turnovers drove Shane Steichen crazy. I will say, there is definitely some blame to put on him and the coaching staff. It's pretty rare to find a situation where everything is solely on the quarterback. This is one of my favorite concepts called leak, where your tight end or receiver are on the line of scrimmage and make it look like they're running wide zone to one side. So tight end Mo Alley Cox looks like he's blocking, which forces his defender to step up so then Cox can run right past him. Initially, I exclusively dinged Richardson for putting this on the wrong shoulder. He's got 6'5", 260 pounds versus, honestly, Peter Dinklage right next to him. But by putting this more front shoulder, this is a bad throw. But when going back and watching and rewatching the concept to find out why it isn't wide open like it usually is, I chalked it up partially to coaching. When we watch how Matt LaFleur does it, watch how Jaden Reed begins to block like it's a run play, and how they get a little rub from the other side from Christian Watson. Sure, leak is always better against zone coverage, and in our Colts example, it's against man, but Mo Alley doesn't even pretend to block to his left, so Eric Murray doesn't think it's a run, doesn't have to take a step up, which would force him out of position, so this becomes a much more contested play. It's these little details that make things harder on quarterbacks, especially one who needs every extra open inch as much as Richardson does. He's still working on hitting open receivers, let alone targeting specific shoulders down the field. I'll also say, while the Colts definitely have a good offensive line, in my opinion, they're built more as a great run-blocking unit than a pass-blocking one. So a lot of the time, Richardson doesn't have the best protection when he's trying to hold the ball waiting for these downfield concepts to develop, so that gets him into trouble as well. Still, while things aren't perfect around him, 2 for 15 through the first half against the Texans, a 44.4 completion percentage on the year, these are staggeringly horrendous numbers that are not NFL starting quarterback caliber. Steichen definitely plays a role in this, and I do think the offensive line isn't the perfect fit for what the Colts want to do with Richardson at the helm. But when your quarterback can't process pre or post snap, when he can't anticipate open receivers, can't manipulate defenders with his eyes, when in general his accuracy is just simply all over the place, the Colts have realized that he is not the guy. Hopefully in his future, another team will take a chance on him and be able to turn him into the next Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, or Geno Smith. But for now, I don't believe that Anthony Richardson is the future of the Indianapolis Colts.